ओम सदाशिवसमारंभां शंकराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ओम पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ओम शांति शांति शांति। ओम नमो ब्रह्मादिभ्यो ब्रह्म विद्या संप्रदाय कर्तृभ्यो वंश ऋषिभ्यो नमो गुरुभ्यः. So we saw the Bhashya up to the 17th Vakya in the first Brahmana of the second chapter. Here the Sushupti Avastha was talked about and Anvaya Vyatireka was used. Anvaya Vyatireka means what? When A is there, B is there. That is Anvaya. When A is not there, if B is not there, that is Vyatireka. So normally we use Anvaya and Vyatireka to establish correlation or causation or both. So here the Shastra is showing that when all this Indriya and Manas and Prana, when they are all active, then only the samsaritvam is there. This taking oneself as an individual and suffering due to that individuality, and also taking oneself as a limited being. All these things are there when these sense organs and the mind are active. When they are resolved in the deep sleep, there is no samsaritvam. So this is the logic which Shruti is giving. And afterwards, now it goes into the Swapna. The next Vakya is about Swapna. But in this context, I also told you last week that in Taittiriya Upanishad Bhashya, Bhashyakara makes some very interesting arguments with reference to the Sushupti and why whatever our nature is in Sushupti, that is our real nature, and not being a samsari is our real nature. Okay. So being a samsari is our nature, Jiva is a samsari, and Jiva is real, Ishvara is real, they are different. All these things are very common arguments. So Dvaitins, there are a lot of Dvaitins, different types of Dvaitins are there. In fact, in the Taittiriya Bhashya, the Purva Pakshi says that we are in majority argument he gives. Then Bhashyakara says, no, many of you being there is in fact better for us because you guys, you negate each other in fact. Therefore, it is easy for me. I only have to uphold whatever is said in the Shruti. You negate each other and then you make my job easier in the end. Now, there is a big Bhashya there, but I still thought one small portion which I have highlighted here, we'll quickly see because it's very interesting where Bhashyakara makes some interesting points, generic statements he is making. So here, if you see this, this is part of the Taittiriya Upanishad Brahmananda Valli 8th Anuvaka. This is called this Upasankramati and all comes, correct? Upasankramana Bhashya is part of that. So here I don't want to go into all the other arguments which are there before, but here the starting point let us take here. Sushupte agrahanam anyasaktavad iti chet, he says. That's the Purva Paksha he starts. He says in Sushupti also there is some, you don't really notice anything because your mind is occupied with something else. Like this he is giving an argument because this is a very common thing. Even in waking, if your mind is distracted or it is occupied with something, even things right in front of your eyes we miss. We do not really see that. Correct? These things are possible, or we do not hear certain things if you are engrossed in something else. So what the Purvapakshi is trying to establish is that not knowing something in Sushupti itself cannot be a reason to say this Dvaita is Mithya, or Dvaita is not intrinsic to one's nature. That is the point he is starting with here. Then Bhashyakara says, Na Sarva Agrahana. So he says, in Sushupti you don't know anything, correct? There is no question of being engrossed in something and because of which you are not knowing something else. You do not, there is no cognition of any object there, correct? No objective knowledge itself is there in Sushupti. So everything, there is only Sarva Agrahana, means no object is known there, none of the objects. So you cannot say that I am engrossed in one knowledge or one cognition or one objective knowledge because of which I did not know something else. That you cannot say, because it is Sarva Agrahana. There is no cognition of anything in Sushupti. So your argument doesn't hold good. Then the Purvapakshi goes to, he says straight away, no, Jagrat Swapnayoho Anyasya Grahanat Satvameva iti chet. So now he is saying, anyway, forget that. In Jagrat and Swapna, I am seeing things other than me. Okay. Therefore, they have to be taken as the truth or reality. The perception of another thing itself should establish their reality or truth. That is the argument he is making. Just because in Sushupti we do not see another thing, that is not a big deal. Okay, that is the argument he is making now. Now for this Bhashyakara says, Na avidya kritatvat jagrat swapna yoho. So jagrat and swapna, whatever you see other than yourself, or the subject object duality you see, is only avidya krita. It is all due to ignorance. Okay, so that is because you do not know your true nature as the limitless conscious being. That is the only reason you are seeing something other than yourself and taking that as the reality also. That is the ignorance here, avidya. So he explains that yad anya grahanam jagrat swapnayoho tad avidya kritam vidya bhave abhavat. Or there is another reading here, avidya bhave abhavat also there is a reading. Here they have given it as vidya bhave abhavat. Both are fine. So he says, whatever you see other than yourself in Jagrat and Swapna, they are all due to avidya. Because when vidya is there, vidya bhave abhava. When vidya is there, when knowledge is there, then there is no dvaita. At least the reality of the dvaita is no more there. It is like seeing the sunrise, knowing very well that the sun does not really rise. The earth is rotating, correct? Or seeing the sky as blue, but knowing that there is no color, there is no blue color or anything for the sky. So there is no ignorance with reference to a certain perception. So one common mistake which people have is that Advaita means it denies the experience of Dvaita. That's not true. Okay, so all experiences are there. We are not denying the experiences, but experience alone is not the truth. Understand that. In fact, all experiences are dumb unless we discriminate and understand and arrive at a certain knowledge. We can be even misled by the experiences. So the experience of subject object itself does not establish the truth of subject object. In fact, I myself, I am self-revealing. That is also an experience in one way, correct? I am always there as the conscious being to whom everything becomes evident. Then there is a subject object experience also is there. The subject object experience actually comes and goes. I am always there as a conscious being. Even when nothing is to be cognized, I am there. That is what we call sleep. So, in this, how do we now arrive at what is the truth? That is the question. What is Swabhavika? What is your real nature? How do I arrive at it? Because you are always there as the conscious being to whom everything becomes evident. In two states of experience, there is also a subject object experience is there. In sleep, in fact, you do not cognize anything. There is no subject object to be cognized, but you are there as a conscious entity all through. So in this, in the majority argument can be made here also. One can say that in two states we are perceiving Dvaita. Only in one sleep state we are not seeing any Dvaita. Therefore, Dvaita is the truth. We can take this argument like that also. Whatever the Purvapakshi is making here, okay. So, Jagrat Swapnayoho Anyasya Grahana Sattvameva iti. But Bhashyakara says when Vidya is there is no Dvaita. Or Vidya Abhave, this A can be elided due to Sandhi rules, Bhavat. When there is no Vidya, only then the Dvaita is there. When there is Vidya, then Dvaita Bhava. Or when Avidya is there only, they are there. Or when Avidya is not there, they are not there. Like that also we can read this. Okay. Now Purvapakshi makes another interesting argument. He says Sushupte Agrahanam api Avidya Kritamiti Chet. So whatever you do not know, see, you are saying you are not cognizing anything in the sleep. Okay, there is total Sarva Agrahanam is there, not knowing anything. No cognition of any object is there while sleeping. Why can't we say that also is due to avidya? Okay, you are saying Jagrat Swapna, seeing duality is due to avidya or ignorance. I am saying the other way around. Whatever you are seeing in Jagrat Swapna only is the truth. You not seeing anything in deep sleep is ignorance, is avidya. In fact, there only you are not cognizing anything, correct? So that it makes sense that that should be really avidya, because there is no objective knowledge in sleep. Like that, there can be an argument. Okay, so that is the that is the argument here. He says Sushupte Agrahanamapi Avidya Kritam iti chet. So whatever this absence of objective knowledge in sleep, the subject-object duality in sleep, that absence itself is due to avidya. Why can't we say that? Means Bhashyakara says no. That is our swabhava. That is our very nature. Swabhavikatva. So in Sushupti, you being there as only a conscious entity without cognizing any subject-object duality and enjoying, in fact, there is no problem. Whatever may have been the problem in waking, all the individual's problems are gone. You are not taking yourself as a wanting being or an individual or anything in Sushupti. There is only Ananda Avapti. So that is your Swarupa, that is your very nature, Bhashyakara says. Now only the interesting part comes. How can you say Sushupti is my very nature and cognizing duality is not my nature? Okay, being the subject and cognizing the objective reality, in that being the subject is your reality. I can say that, correct? Why can't I say that? Means now here Bhashyakara is enumerating some general principles, very, very beautiful. We'll see that. He says, Dravyasya hi tattvam avikriya para anapekshatvat. So he says, any vastu or any object or any dravya here can be translated as substance also. So its reality, tattvam means what? Its reality, its nature is what should be avikriya, he says, that which is not changing. If something keeps on changing, you cannot say that it is its nature, correct? You cannot ascertain, in fact, this is this. So whatever is unchanging in an object alone, its reality, that is its reality, because it is not dependent on anything else. Para anapekshatva means that is intrinsic. That which is intrinsic, that which is not dependent on any external factor, and that which is always there without changing, that alone is the reality of a dravya or a substance or an object. In fact, previously in the Satyam Jnanam Anantam Bhashya also, Bhashyakara says Satyam means he has already defined Yad Rupena Yad Nishchitam Bhavati Tad Rupena Tanna Vyabhicharati iti Satyam. So in whichever form you have ascertained the reality of something, if that never changes, Tad Rupena Tanna Vyabhicharati. Tad Rupena means what? In whichever form you have ascertained this is the truth of this, it never changes that form. It never changes that. That alone can be considered as Satyam. If something keeps on changing, means it is Mithya. Tad Vyabhicharati. If it is Vyabhicharati, if it keeps on changing, you cannot consider it as the truth. In fact, even in Mandukya Karika, our Gaudapadacharya also gives a very, very pithy statements he makes, but very profound. He says, Adav Antecha Yennasti Vartamanepi Tattatha. Simply he says, whatever is not there in the beginning and end is not there in between also. Whatever is there always alone is really there. It is correct. Adav Antecha Yennasti. Whatever is not there in the beginning, whatever is not there in the end, both of them are they are not there even while you are perceiving it. Okay, it's like the snake. In the beginning there is no snake. After you know that only rope is there, also there is no snake. Then while seeing also there is no snake really, correct? So that is the argument here. So the dravyasya tattvam, the reality of a substance. For example, pot. What is the reality of pot? Means the pot shape itself we cannot say is the reality of pot because there was no pot in the beginning, and later on also the pot can get destroyed. Even while it is the pot, in reality it is clay alone. The weight of the pot is weight of clay. If you touch the pot, you are touching the clay. In fact, when you look at it as only clay, there is no potness in clay. Understand that. Even while you are cognizing the pot may have even some functionality, correct? Everything is nama, rupa, and karma. Like that, even our Brihadaranyaka Bhashya, Brihadaranyaka Upanishad itself has said that. So there can be name, form, function, but there is no partness in clay. If you look at clay as clay, it does not have any partness. Therefore, partness is nothing but name and form alone. It is all only vikara or vikriya. So that's why Bhashyakara now says vikriya na tattvam, that which keeps on changing. Okay. Vacharammanam vikaro namadheyam mritika ityeva satyam also. We have to bring here the Chandogya statement. The clay alone is the truth. Everything else, whether it is a ladle or a cup or a pot or whatever plate, anything made up of clay, they are all only names and forms. They are all only modifications. Only the clay alone is Satya. So whatever clay was there, clay is there, clay will be there. That alone is there without any change. All these names and forms come and go. They are potentially there in the clay, but they are all mithya because they don't have an existence of their own. So vikriya cannot be a tattva, he says. That which is avikriya, unchanging and not dependent on any other external factor alone can be satyam. Pot depends on a potter. Correct? It depends on factors of action. Like a karta has to be there for a part, and the other factors of action, karana also, like a wheel is required to make a part, and in fact part is made for some purpose, means sampradhanam also is there, like this all, and it has to be made in some location. So anything which depends on karakas, factors of action, like karta, karana, sampradhanam, all these things, they are also mithya alone. They are all modifications. To bring about the modification, it depends on factors of action. But whatever is there unchanging, that alone is satyam. So, yad anya apeksham na tat tattvam bhashyakara. Whatever is dependent on something else, like the factors of action, karakas, that is not the reality of a substance. Clay is there even when no other factors of action are acting, are present. Clay is there even when all the factors of action are in are present and they are active, then also clay is there. Even when again some factors of action come and destroy the effect, then also clay is there. So names and forms only are anya apeksham. They are dependent on all these other things for their coming into being, and then eventually they are destroyed also. So they are all not reality. Na tat tattvam anya abhave abhava. Reason is what? When the other factors are not there, okay, then they are not there. So this is also something like this inertial law only, correct? By all objects are having certain inertia. They are by nature they are there as they are in some state of motion. Let us say, unless an external force comes, there is no change in that inertia. That is their nature. So like that here, whatever is due to some external factor, that is all only mithya. It is all vikriya. It is not its own intrinsic reality. Whatever is always there alone is the reality or satyam or tattvam. So that he further explains, nahi karaka apeksham vastunas tattvam. So whatever is dependent on factors of action, like I already explained, correct? Like a pot depends on a potter or a wheel, etc. All those things cannot be the the reality of a substance. Potness has got nothing to do with clay in reality. It is only a superimposition, really. A clay pot, we always see the pot, the clay there along with the pot. But when you see the clay itself, in your cognition of clay, there is no potness. Understand that. That is the important thing. So these things which come into being because of the factors of action, they are all dependent on them, karakas, and therefore they cannot be called the reality of any substance or an object. Okay, so here nahi karaka apeksham vasunas tattvam. Then further, sataha visheshaha karaka apekshaha visheshascha vikriya jagrat swapnayoscha grahanam visheshaha. So now finally he is connecting it with the three states of our experience. So the sadvastu alone is there always, correct? Sadeva Saumya idamagre asid ekameva advitiyam and all. The sadvastu, which is Brahman here, which is the conscious being, that alone is there. And everything else, any other qualification or feature, Visheshaha means what? All these things are because of some factors of action coming into being. Okay. So they are all dependent on factors of action, any feature or any qualification on this Sadvastu. And all these features and qualifications or qualities, we can say, they are all Vikriya only, they are all modifications. And in fact, this Jagrat and Swapna, in this waking and dream state, whatever we experience, correct, whatever the subject-object duality, which is our experience, that is all only extraneous qualities or features, you can say. They are not intrinsic to ourselves. Okay. So this Jagrat Swapnayoscha Grahanam Visheshaha, therefore it is not our intrinsic reality. Yadhi yasya na anya apeksham swarupam tat tasya tattvam. So that which alone is not dependent on anything else, correct? Your nature, which again, which has to be intrinsic, which has to be not dependent on anything else, that alone is your reality. So why we say this Jagrat, Swapna and all is again a Vishesha or a Vikriya, or it is dependent on something, means because it is dependent on your mind and your sense organs being active. Understand that. That is what in the Brihadaranyaka also we saw as the Anvaya Vyatireka Nyaya which was given. So only when the mind and the sense organs are active, Dvaita is there. But when the mind and sense organs are resolved, there is no Dvaita. So this Dvaita itself is dependent on the mind and the sense organs being active. In fact, Advaita is the Satya always. The Satyatvam or the reality of Advaita is not in any way affected by the appearance of Dvaita. Understand that. Because only the conclusion, the wrong conclusion has to be negated. That's all we are doing here. Understand that. In fact, there is an interesting Mandukya Karika is there, where Gaudapadacharya says, Prapancho yedi vidyeta nivarteta na samshayaha maya matramidam dvaitam advaitam paramarthataha. Like that he says. So he uses a very interesting statement. This Dvaita will go away, will really disappear only if it is really there, correct? Prapancho yedi vidyeta. If it is there, nivarteta, it will go away. But the Dvaita Darshanam itself is not really there. Even while we are perceiving it, it is not there really. So there is no question of it really going. We have to only recognize the truth behind the appearance. That's it. You don't have to do anything more than that. If you really think that for Advaita to be understood, all Dvaita has to vanish. Some people have this idea. In fact, it's a very unfortunate misconception. Then it's a problem, correct? It's like saying that I can understand wave is water, and wave and ocean are water only if the wave stops. When will the wave stop in the ocean? Okay, when the waves are there, there are some disturbances are there, let us say, like some dirt is there, some foam is there and all that, and it makes it difficult for you to understand it is water. But at some point in time, you have to understand wave is water, even while the wave is there. You cannot wait for all the wave to stop and then only I can understand this as water. What if the wave again starts? Or when will the wave stop, in fact, in reality? So we cannot wait for all that. So here we have to understand very clearly that this Jagrat Swapna, the whatever duality, whatever subject-object division which we experience is Anya Apeksha. It is due to other factors. like the mind and sense organs being active, and they come and go. But you are the conscious being to whom everything becomes evident in all states. Correct? And that becomes very clear in Sushupti. So that is why we say that that is the Swabhava. Your nature is being a conscious entity. Limitless conscious being is your true nature. Therefore, yad anya apeksham na tat tattvam. Okay, yeah. Anya abhave abhavat. So, whatever is dependent on something else. Okay. So here we said whatever is not dependent on something else, that alone is your Swarupa and your reality. Then Bhashyakara makes it even more clear. He says whatever is dependent on something else, that is not reality, that is not your nature. Because when the other thing is not there, then this quality or feature also vanishes. It is transient, it comes and goes. Therefore, what tasmat swabhavikatvat jagrat swapnavat na sushupte visheshaha. So, whatever you are in sushupti, that is your swarupa, that is your nature, where you are free from all wants. Your fullness alone is there. And in dream and waking, the other whatever duality which you experience, that is all only vishesha. That's not your swarupa. That is not your nature. That comes and goes. So like this, that we'll just see this portion of the Bhashya here. Then he goes into other details here relevant to Taittiriya. So here we saw that Sushupti is our Swabhava, whatever that conscious being. Because in Sushupti, there is no disturbance of the Dvaita experience and there is no confusion. So you can be shown as just the conscious being separate from this division of subject object. Now let us see what the Upanishad says about the Swapna. Sa yatra etat swapnaya charati teha asya lokaha tad uteva maharajaha bhavati uteva mahabrahmanaha uteva uchavacham nigacchati sa yatha maharajaha janapadan grihitva स्वे जनपदे यथा कामं परिवर्तेत एवमेव एषः एतत् प्राणान् गृहीत्वा स्वे शरीरे यथा कामं परिवर्तते. So here, having talked about Sushupti, now the Upanishad is talking about this Swapna Avastha. So in the Swapna Avastha, this Vijnanamayaha Purushaha, correct? The Jiva, one who is full of this awareness, what in this Swapnaya Charati, he goes about in the dream, okay? And in that he experiences Lokaha here means Lokyate iti Lokaha, that which you experience is your Loka. So Teha Asya Lokaha, these are his experiences in Swapna when he is going about experiencing different things. So what are those? Uta iva maharajaha bhavati. So this jiva becomes a king in the dream, as though a king, iva, because it is not real, dream is not real. Or uta iva mahabrahmanaha, or you are a great brahmana in the dream. Or what? Uta iva uchavacham nigacchati, you attain some exalted position, or you become a beggar. That is also a possibility. In reality, you are a king, but in your dream, you become a beggar. Or you are a beggar sleeping on the pavement. In your dream, you become a king. That is also possible. So you go, you gain some exalted status, or you become something which is not very desirable, let us say. Ucha avacham vigachati. Also what? Like a king, sa yatha maharajaha janapadan grihitva. So taking all his retinue, his subjects, the king moves. Okay, Sve Janapade Yatha Kamam Parivarteta, the king can go anywhere in his own kingdom, taking his retinue, taking along his subjects in his own Janapada, in his kingdom. He goes wherever he likes. Evameva Yeshaha Yetat Pranan Grihitva. In this way only, this Jiva taking his prana. Prana means here all the Indriyas. Okay, but Indriyas are not really fully active, so that the external world is not cognized here. But still, it takes, in fact, it will explain in the next Vakya that this taking all these Indriyas, where does it move? It moves about in one's own nadis. So the Shastra talks about nadis. This is there even in Kathopanishad also. Nadis are talked about. Here also it will talk about the nadis. So the whatever manifestation of the consciousness which happens in the Antakarana, that is only moving internally within in the nadis alone, so that it still does not cognize the external world, but it is cognizing something which is projecting itself. The mind itself is projecting and then cognizing that. So like that, this Jiva who is Vijnanamayaha takes hold of all his Indriyas and mind, and Sve Sharire, in one's own body, in the nadis, he goes about Yatha Kamam Parivartate. So he goes about experiencing the entire dream world, in fact. So that's how the dream is presented. Here Bhashyakara starts very interestingly with a Purvapaksha, and then explains as the answer whatever is said here. So what is that? He says the Purvapaksha is like this here. Nanu Darshana Lakshanayam Swapna Avasthayam Karya Karana Viyoge Api Samsara Dharmitvam Asya Drishyate. So the Purvapakshi says, you say that Atma is not a samsari. Okay. And samsaritvam is there because there is a samsarga or a connection between this Indriya and Manas and Atma. And once Dharma is superimposed on the other and all that, that is why, due to ignorance, one looks upon oneself as a limited, wanting individual. That is samsara. But in dream, there is no real connection between your indriyas and mind. Okay, Swapna Avasthayam, what does this person say? Darshana Lakshanayam. Swapna Avastha also there is a darshana is there. There is a, you are seeing things, you have experience, correct? In the experience, whatever you are experiencing in dream, okay, in the dream state, so which is characterized by a certain experience of subject object. There is no Karya Karana Yoga. Like you say in waking state, the body and all the sense organs and mind and all, they are in contact with whatever external objects, and because of which there is a certain confusion and all we say. But there is no connection in dream. Everything is internal. So the regular indriyas, okay, and the body itself is not actually having any connection with external objects. So Karya Karana Viyogepi, even though there is no connection between the body. Karya is physical body, Karana is all the senses, and also Antakarana, which is mind. But what still there is a samsara dharmitvam is there for Atma, because even in dream, okay, he explains that yathacha jagarite sukhi dukhi bandhu viktaha shochati muhyate cha. So he says, like even while in waking state, you are a sukhi, you enjoy certain things, you are dukhi, you do not enjoy certain things, you have sorrow, sadness. And also when you are not in the company of your friends, your relatives and all that, you feel sorrow. Okay. Bandhu yuktaha shochati muhyate, then you are deluded in some cases. All these things are there in dream also. So yatha jagarite tatha swapne api, like that we have to understand. So even in dream, all these emotions are there. That's why we have nightmare, or sometimes we have very pleasant dreams also. So sukhi, dukhi, all these things are there in the dream also. Therefore, shoka moha dharma, dharmavan eva yam. Therefore, I am saying Atma has all this shoka, moha, all these qualities are intrinsic to Atma. Okay, shoka moha dharmavan eva ayam Atma. Ayam vijnanamayaha purushaha. That is the truth. So you say that due to connection of Karya and Karana only, one becomes a samsari, but there is no connection in dream. But still Atma is a sukhi dukhi. Therefore, being sukhi dukhi only is the nature of Atma. That is the argument here. So he concludes. He says, "Na asya shoka mohadayaha sukha dukkadayascha karya karana sanyoga janita bhrantya adhyaropita iti." So finally, the Purvapakshi concludes saying that whatever shoka and moha, whatever sorrow and delusion, and even sukha and dukkha, okay, all the pleasure and pain which you experience, they are all not only due to connection between the body and the indriyas and all that. That Atma is getting connected with the indriyas, the sense organs and the body. Because of that only all these things are coming, and that too only due to Bhranti. It is all an erroneous cognition, and it is all superimposed on Atma. Atma in reality is neither a Sukhi or Dukhi. It is not a Samsari. Whatever you are saying, all these things are not correct, because whatever you are saying is negated by dream. That's how the Purvapakshi is interpreting now. Okay, then Bhashyakara, what is the answer? He says, Na Brishatva. He says, no, whatever you say is not correct, because dream is not real. Dream is false. So how can you arrive at something based on something which is false? Because dream itself is negated once you wake up. Okay. So how can you base your argument that Atma is a samsari because it experiences sukha and dukkha and dream? Means that sukha dukkha is false. It's not real. Correct? So Bhashyakara explains further. Saha prakritaha atma yatra yasmin kale darshana lakshnaya swapnaya swapna vritya charati vartate tada teha asya lokaha karma phalani. Okay, so he explains that now it is all false, and then he starts explaining the vakya here. So saha prakritaha atma. So saha is who here? The atma who is under discussion. Yatra means yasmin kale, in which, at what time, or at some time. Darshana lakshanaya, okay, swapnaya. So Bhashyakara adds this, swapnaya charati, means the swapna which is characterized by seeing something other than oneself. So swapnaya means swapna vritya, he says. So swapna vritti, swapna is also a modification of the mind only. So vritti here means a state of mind or a modification of mind. So swapna also is only a vritti. Swapna vrittya charati vartate. So it is there in this dream state. Tada, at that time what? Teha asya lokaha karma phalani. So these are all the experiences. Means the experiences. Why is he even experiencing something in dream also? Means we have to say that is also karma phala only. So whatever sukha and dukkha which you undergo even in dream, they are all only the exhaustion of your karma. Okay, karma phala, the effects of your karma only is getting exhausted even in dream. Okay, what are they then? Kete, he asks. Tat tatra uta api maharajaha iva bhavati. So if it is some good karma means you become a king in your dream and you are enjoying. Okay, uta means api means you are also a king in the dream. Or what? So here again he explains this Maharaja means Sahayam Maharajatvam Iva Asya Lokaha. This Ivakara is very important. Correct? Uta Iva is there here. Uta Iva Maharajaha. That's what Bhashyakara says. Iva Bhavati. So the king, the status of being a king in the dream, you are experiencing that. But it is only as though it's not real. That is why Mrishatva, he explained this, correct? This Iva only is the basis for that. It is only as though na Maharajatvam eva jagaritaha iva. It is not really like you became a king, like in the waking state. Then what? Similarly, tatha Mahabrahmanaha iva uta api. So you can become the Mahabrahmana also in the dream. Or Uchavacham, Ucham cha Devatvadi, you become a Deva in the dream. That is Ucha, exalted state. Avacham, Tiryaktvadi, you can become an animal also in the dream. And you are suffering. You are running for your life. You want to survive. In fact, you are being chased by a tiger. And you get up also. It's a nightmare. So like that, all these things are possible. But everything is only Iva. You get up and there is no real tiger or anything. You are relieved, in fact. So Nigachati. So all these things you undergo. But what? Vrisha eva, but these are all false. Once you get up, you know it is all false. Maharaja Tvadayaha Asya Lokaha. So whatever you experienced in the dream, being a Maharaja or a Mahabrahmana or a Deva or some other animal, everything is only false. Why? Because Iva Shabda Prayoga, the Upanishad is using the Iva Shabda, it is as though only. And also Vichara Darshanacha, once you get up, you know that it's a false. You never went to a forest. You are sitting in an apartment in the city where there is no forest for 20-30 kilometers. You cannot go and come in that time to any forest, correct? So, so it is all, as soon as you get up, it is contradicted, it is negated. And Upanishad also is saying, Iva, therefore, Tasmat na bandhu viyogadi janita shoka mohadibihi swapne sambadhyate eva. So therefore, whatever you said, that if one is away from one's own friends and relatives, and because of that, what? A certain pain, sorrow is born and all that, and there can be delusion and pleasure and pain, all these things, those are all intrinsic to Atma because it is there in Swapna. All that is not true because Swapna itself is false. Okay, so none of these things you can say that Atma is connected in any way with whatever is happening in Swapna. That is also Karma Phala only is exhausting. Okay, so there is no sambandha between Atma and whatever is happening in Swapna. That has been established. But Purvapakshi is not ready to give up. So what does he say? Nanucha yatha jagarite jagrat kala vyabhicharinaha lokaha एवं स्वप्ने अपि ते अस्य महाराजत्वादयः लोकाः स्वप्नकालभाविनः स्वप्नकाल अव्यभिचारिणः आत्मभूताः एव न तु अविद्या अध्यारोपिता इति. So now Purvapakshi makes an interesting argument. He says, see, in waking state, whatever I experience, okay, it is not negated in the waking state itself, correct? Similarly, in Swapna also, whatever I have experienced, like being a king and all that, that is not negated in the Swapna itself, correct? So, Swapna Kala Avyabhicharinaha, he says. So, Swapna Kala Bhavinaha, whatever is there in Swapna, whatever existed in dream state, that is not negated in the dream state itself. It is valid. While I am dreaming, everything looks real, like whatever is there in waking also. Therefore, what? They are all not avidya adhyaropita. It is not due to some superimposition due to avidya. That is the argument. Therefore, Atma is still a samsari, like that they try to imply. Okay. Now Bhashyakara says, no, this I have already shown you. Why are you bringing this up again? He says, in a different manner. So he says, Bhashyakara says, Nanu cha jagrat karya karana atmatvam devata atmatvam cha avidya adhyaropitam na paramartataha iti vetirikta vijnanamaya atma pradarshanena pradarshitam. So Bhashyakara says, already when Ajatashatru went and woke up the sleeping person after calling the names of the Devata, there only we had a big discussion, and I already established that Atma is something separate, okay, from the Karya and Karana, from the physical body and Prana and Indriyas and mind, everything, okay. I have already established that Atma is separate from this individual body mind sense complex and even from the Devata Atma, from the whatever is the Upadhi, Devata Upadhi is there, from all that also Atma is something different. And taking this body mind sense complex as oneself itself is only a superimposition, because the seer can never be the seen in reality. But in spite of that, the qualities of the seen or the objects are taken as the qualities of the subject. So there is ignorance there. This I have established already. So they are all not real. This has been told to you. Na paramartata iti vetirikta vijnanamaya atma pradarshanena. He says, when I have shown you that Atma is other than this body mind sense complex, at that time only all these things have been shown to you. So now he says, tat katham drishtantatvena swapna lokasya mritaha iva ujjivishyan pradurbhavishyati. So then how are you again showing this dream as a drishtanta now? Correct? He is taking dream as an illustration or an analogy and then trying to bring this again back. Even in waking, it is not that case I have already shown you. Now, why are you taking this swapna and trying to reactivate something which is already dead? You are trying to bring it back to life, he says. So this argument is already done and it has been established. What are you trying to resurrect again? Okay. Then the Purvapakshi says Satyam. Yeah, that is true. Vijnanamaye Vetirikte Karyakarana Devatatmatva Pradarshanam Avidya Adhyarupitam. So when you showed that whoever is the conscious being and that conscious being is separate from Karya and Karana, from this body and all the sense organs and mind, and even from the Devatatma, the body mind sense complex of the Devatas. From that only we know that it is all only avidya, it is all superimposed only by ignorance. Like even Shuktikayam eva Rajatatva Darshanam, he says. So like even seeing silver on a shell. So ityetat siddhyati vyatirikta atma astitva pradarshana nyayenaiva. So by showing that atma is something separate from all these things, this has been established. I also agree. But still, it does not establish that atma is shuddha or atma is free from samsari dharma. That atma is not a samsari, that you have not established. You have only established that atma is not body, mind, sense complex. Okay. But atma is not a samsari, you have not established by that. So he is trying to make a distinction there. So he says, Natu tad vishuddhi parata eva nyayaha uktaha. So these things is only Vyatirikta Darshana you have shown. This is separate from that. Fine. But you have not established that Atma is Shuddha, that Atma is not a Samsari. These things have not been established by you. Therefore, what he says, Asannapi Drishtantaha Jagrat Karya Karana Devatatmatva Darshana Lakshanaha Punaha Udbhavyate Sarvaha hi Nyayaha Kinchit Vishesham Apekshamanaha Apunarukti Bhavati. Okay. So what is he saying here is, see, even though there is no Drishtanta, you can say that, but still I am taking this swapna and even the waking state, they are valid during that state itself. Okay. Whatever experience we are going through, and based on that, again we have to relook all these things. Okay. Punar udbhavyate, he says. Okay. That we are considering ourselves as all this body, mind, sense complex, or even as the Devatatma when you are doing Upasana. All these things we have to relook, not from for establishing whether Atma is separate from that, but to see whether Atma is really a samsari or not, Atma is shuddha or not. Okay. So from that angle, if we see, it is not like telling the same thing again, correct? It's something different now we are seeing. There is a, whatever we are trying to establish now, it is not the same thing. We are now looking at a different aspect. Therefore, you cannot say it is punarukti or it is the same argument. Why are you bringing it? That is not correct. Okay, my argument now is different. I want to know whether Atma, or I am saying that Atma is really a samsari. You are saying that Atma is not a samsari. So now how can you establish that? I am saying dream itself proves that Atma is a samsari, because even though there is no connection in reality between the senses and the mind, they are all resolved. But still Atma experiences Sukha Dukkha, etc. in dream. Therefore, Atma is a samsari. That is my argument. There is no punarukti dosha here. I am not repeating a wrong argument again. Right now, my argument is different. That's what the Purvapakshi says. So for that also Bhashyakara says, na tavat swapne anubhuta maharajatvadayaha lokaha atmabhutaha. Okay, in swapna we are experiencing all this, being a maharaja or a mahabrahmana and all those things, but they are all not atmabhuta. They are not something which is the nature of atma, because they are experienced. In fact, even in swapna, they are all experiences. Means what? It is only an experienced thing. By being the drishya itself, it cannot be the drashta or the drashtra swarupa. They are not really atma bhuta. They are not in oneself really. They are all only experienced. They come and go. So they are all other than the atma only. There also it is anatma only. even in Swapna. And in fact, they are all there because of whatever samskaras which you have gathered in the waking, that alone is coming, is projected, which is called Ardha Vikasa and all that. So dream itself is half projection, half awake, and you are projecting something. So Bhashyakara will try to explain that, and again he will quote the Upanishad itself, where it is talking about that it is the jiva goes taking along the indriyas and all that in the nadi and all that, and establish that Atma is really asamsari. So that we will see next week. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.
Thank you.
धन्यवाद गुरुजी।